Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. Me, your host, Daniel Jackson. And today we have on the show, we have Angela Shakti Sparks. Angela, how are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you tonight and see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually have you on here. It's been a little bit configuring schedules and stuff like that, but you know what? Like we always be talking about, life gets in the way. We have things to do, we have things to take care of, but the universe has us here together doing this when we're supposed to be doing it and not when we always plan to do it, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a crazy month, and it's actually been a good reminder to come back to all of my practices.
Right. Well, you just moved, correct?
Yes, recently moved from Austin, Texas to Omaha, Nebraska. And then just there, it's been we've actually been here a year, but there's been a lot of changes with our situation lately. So it's been interesting. Life is keeping us on our toes.
How long were you out in Austin, Texas?
So I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and then I lived in Austin since 2004.
So what is your take on the drivers out in Texas? Because my wife and I moved from Delaware out here to Arizona and came through Texas, and the drivers out there were absolutely horrible. So what is your take on that?
They're in Dallas, they like to drive this close to each other. In Houston, they're just really fast and all over the place. In Austin, don't ever go through a green light right away. You got to wait for all the people going through the red light before you go.
Yeah, I will make sure, hopefully, that I never have to go through Texas again, because, man, that was just a miserable time. But especially El Paso, oh, my goodness, that was horrible. But we made it here in Arizona, so we're okay, safe and sound. But I'll tell you, even here in Arizona, the drivers take a lot of risks. They just pull right up in front of you, and you just have to go with the flow. So, yeah, it's kind of strange. I thought Delaware and New Jersey was bad, where I'm originally from, but, man, this place takes the cake. So you have a book out, correct?
Yes, it's actually, I have a copy right here. So it's actually a compilation book that is me and I believe it was 18 other or 19 other women. And we just wrote part of the story of, like one aspect of our life. And
is yours called Reigniting My Spark?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you said there's others who wrote this book along with you, or is this a collaboration that you did, or did they ask you to, hey, write a part of this book?
So it's a collaboration. So it's just different women writing stories to, bring people hope. I wrote about being an empath and how I discovered that I was an empath, and, I was depressed much of my life. I dealt with a lot of anxiety and physical health issues. And so just, that whole process of how I realized, oh, I'm an empath and what that means and how I was able to shift out of that.
And when was it that you found out you were an empath?
It was I was in my 30s, and I was really, really depressed, like laying on the floor every day, crying, wishing I was dead. I was married to my current husband at the time, and he was what I felt was the only good thing that I still had left in my life. And then one day he said he wasn't happy. And so I was like, wow, if I don't do something about this, like, what's going to happen? I'm not dying. I keep waking up every day. I'm miserable. So I just was like, I've got to do something. I can't live like this anymore. So basically I felt like I had fallen to the bottom of a really deep abyss. Sure. And like I was at my very bottom, and I was determined though to climb my way out and do whatever it took to figure things out.
And when you did that, did you have to do that on your own, since he felt as though he was unhappy? Did he try to support you in that type of way, or was he just like, hey, you got to figure this out. I'm here, but you got to figure this out?
Yeah, I actually went and stayed with my sister for a few weeks.
Sure.
And then my husband and I would get together and have some conversations. And in the meantime, I was doing a lot of praying, and I came across some books and some other resources. And then I came across a book about what it meant to be an empath. And I was like, holy shit, this is my life.
Right.
Which was awesome, because then it gave me the tools to start digging my way out of that hole I was in.
But in the beginning, did you know it was called or being called being an empath? Did you understand that, or are you just going, how do you Google something that you don't know what you are?
Yeah. And, I don't even remember what I Googled. Maybe something about depression. And again, I think, the universe brings you resources when you need them. And I came across a book, and, it was about being energy sensitive, maybe is what it said in there somewhere. And I was like, it kind of sparked my interest. And then it started, I started reading what the symptoms are, or I say symptoms, not symptoms, but
they're pretty much symptoms. I mean,
they're kind of symptoms, right? Like, what does it mean to be energy sensitive, to be an empath? And as I started reading them, everyone fit what I was going through.
Right. Sure. I mean, just like having an illness, more or less, you got to see what the symptoms are. How do you type in, you Google in, okay, today, for the last 10 years, I feel like WTF. I mean, you can't, that's, and that's what it feels like. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Why do I feel this way? And how do you describe that when you're trying to find out what it is, even though we have this source of Google, but holy crap, I mean, it had to be very difficult just trying to figure it out. I mean, because everybody else, if you got something else, if you have ADHD or something like that, I mean, to have a name for it now. When I was a kid, you weren't called that. You were called a dreamer, or you were just high spirited because you weren't paying attention. You were just doing something else. Now they have a label for it. So, but finding this label, I mean, for taking on other people's feelings and picking up on the feelings, I mean, that's pretty extraordinary, if you ask me.
Yeah. And I'm really passionate about it right now, because what I'm finding as I work with people, because I work with a lot of people that have chronic health conditions. That's one of the main things that people who are energy sensitive have, is you'll find that when there's a chronic health condition that they can't find an answer for, the doctor doesn't know,
right.
Things look fine, but they're a hot mess, it's like, what is going on physically? What I find when I visit with them and talk with them is like, you're an empath, you're energetically sensitive.
Yes.
And, so you're taking on all the energy around you. You're taking on other people's thoughts, emotions, the negative energy which there's so much of right now. It's like you're taking it all into your body.
Right, kind of like Spock used to do the mind meld thing, where you're connecting with them, but you're not trying to do it. It's just happening more or less. I talked to a girl yesterday, but she kept just telling me, "No, I'm ADHD." I said, "No, you're an empath big time," because I pick up on that being a medium. But and as my wife's also an empath as well. There are some people like yourself who wanted to explore more to try to find out what it really means, instead of just going, "Oh yeah, I guess I'm that. I don't know," and being okay with it. But that's a good thing. So on your path to finding out, did you go back to your husband and say, "Hey, I think I found out what's going on here"?
So he kind of saw this stuff as woo-woo when I first, so I couldn't really talk with him about it, but really it was just working on the depression piece, because at the time I was really depressed and he couldn't help me. He didn't know what to do to help me. And so he, was at the end of his rope. He didn't know what to do. So we just had conversations, and we agreed, that we did love each other and that we wanted to work on things. So, eventually I moved back in, but I tried to just really give him space and just continue to do the work on myself.
Sure.
And, it was probably a 2-year process, I would say, before things really, got back on track. Yeah. But worth it.
Now, I saw when you are, I'm guessing you did this when you were younger, because you just said, as you were saying, you were feeling all this kind of way in your 30s, and I'm like looking at you like, well, you only look like you're in your 30s. So I was like, what does she mean by that? I'm guessing when you were younger, I saw that you studied dance back in Texas in college. Now, when you were doing that, was that helping in any way when you were doing that? Because I'm sure you felt this a lot through your life.
Yeah, actually, dance has been one of the things that really, when I'm dancing, I'm in the present moment.
Yeah,
and
you're in the zone.
All that other stuff is not there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're in the zone. And that's like for me with riding a motorcycle, I can meditate here at home, or if I get on my bike, I'm in the zone and I'm not thinking about anything else, and everything else starts coming through clearly. Do you still keep up with doing dancing?
Yeah. So actually, I was a professional belly dancer, not ballet, but belly
that. I was going to, my wife used to belly dance as well. And then she was also an ice skater, but I was looking at some of the pictures. I was like, looks like the belly dance type of contest or type of costume you wore.
Yeah, I did both the sparkly kind and the very tribal kind. I danced with a 50-pound snake. And
oh my God.
Yeah. So in Austin, I actually danced a lot, performed at weddings and the Texas Renaissance Festival.
Did you do little jingy little bell things on your fingers and everything?
Balance the sword on my head.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Did you ever cut your head with the sword or no?
I cut my finger before. It was very, very sharp blade.
And you said you were doing this dance with a 50-pound snake too. I mean, that's were you singing Alice Cooper songs or something like that? No, I'm sure you weren't. But that's kind of a little different. I didn't know that was involved in that. But okay. But do you do that still a lot, or just like it's like a side type of thing you do when you're have time to do it?
Yeah, Omaha doesn't quite have the same market, but if you teach one class a week and then, dance around the house, that I love, like you said, it puts you in that meditative state. So sometimes I'll just put some music on and.
What does Omaha have to offer?
Eating is a sport here.
Is it? Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of big people over there. They're all eating and getting.
It's just, I guess, like trying a lot of restaurants.
Sure. Yeah, we're doing the same thing here. We don't know all the places here, so we're always, because everyone we run into here, because they've been here forever, always tells us, oh, there's no place to eat. But I mean, we have 2 Jack in the Boxes, we have Burger King, 2 McDonald's. I mean, all kinds of stuff there, but other restaurants as well. We have this one called Mandalay or something like that. I keep calling it the Mandalorian. I don't know why, but yeah, but they have awesome food. So you've been here totally a year now, but back and forth kind of doing stuff. Now I'm sure you have a feel for the place. Have you found any type of energetic type businesses like a rock store or somebody who has meditation classes or anything like that around you?
It's not a huge. They've had some healing fairs. So there are some people here. It's a smaller community. I have not found a good crystal shop. There's a crystal shop. Back in Austin, we had Nature's Treasures, which had outdoor, all the raw. I love all the big raw crystal pieces. There's nothing like that here. I've actually been thinking about going to either Arizona or Colorado to one of the rock and gym shows because I'm not that I don't have 100 of crystals around me already, but
there is we heard about it, but it's already gone. It starts in January and it runs from January to February for 2 months over in the western part of Arizona. And it's in this town, and it's the whole town. It takes up the whole town, and they do it for 2 months. And there's just all these, it's just booth after booth after booth, gazillions all over the whole freaking town for all these rocks and crystals and stuff like that. But my wife and I had just, we had only been here 6 weeks, and then I got the flu, and I was in bed for 3.5 weeks and lost 30 pounds too. So it's just crazy. Jenny Craig doesn't have shit on me, but we're hoping to go next year if we can get out there, because it's like a 4-hour drive just from where we are. So you're not finding that. So the only thing that's really going on in Nebraska is you. right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure there are. So when my husband and I moved here, we came and started a chiropractic clinic franchise.
really?
And so I had put my personal practice, my healing practice, and everything on a bit of a pause. Plus, I didn't have any contacts here, and so I was helping build the business. So this past month, some things have been shifting with that, and also I'm really feeling called. I'm getting that. It's starting to eat away at me that I haven't been doing,
Sure.
using my gifts and doing what I meant to do.
Right.
And so I'm really ready to get back to working with people and helping people, because it is what brings me joy. And so it's time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And when you were saying that, I'm feeling that itch and stuff like that. So when I get answers from spirit and stuff like that, they actually literally touch my face for yes and no answers. But most of the time, they just put thoughts in and stuff like that, and then it's my thought, but everything's turning out like 99.9% right. But they touch. So as you were saying that stuff, they were saying yes, yes, yes. They're giving you that itch again because you're supposed to be doing this and not holding back anymore. Now, so you started up a chiropractic business. Is your husband a doctor?
No, we just own the business. We both
awesome.
adjusted once a week ourselves, and we had a similar business back in Austin. So we came up here. We both have some family up here. More of his immediate family is in this Nebraska and Colorado. We were just wanting a change. Austin's getting a little crazy.
Do you have to, when you go for your adjustment, do you have to set up an appointment for yourself, or because you own the business, you just walk in and say, all right, it's time to get crack-a-lackin' over here. Let's go.
Yep. We
awesome,
just walk in.
Yeah, man. Hey, free crack-a-lackin'. Why not? My wife and I love going to a chiropractor. We haven't found one yet to go here yet, so we're looking forward to that. So let me see. Let me look around what you got here. So of course you're friends with Sarah McGuy. Of course, that's how I found you. And so what is this? I was looking around and I wrote down these two words. It says involved energies. Explain that to me.
Oh, yeah. So evolved energetics is what I'm calling the, so I have channeled a type of energy healing. So, people know Reiki, which uses different symbols, but there's also like healing touch and matrix. Anyway, there's other ones. I don't know all their names, but
I don't know all their names either.
Yeah, but it's one that channeled through me. Many years ago, when it first came through, I didn't even know what it was. It's like the energy moves through my body. But now that I work with it more, and it's continually evolving, so evolved energetics seemed like a fitting name. But it's like every time I work with somebody, it's different. So it has a few patterns of energy that I use to start to open and close the sessions. It works with sacred geometry. It works with the chakra system. The way the energy moves, it's different for every single person. So it's very tailored and specific versus like Reiki uses, they have their set of symbols and they use it. With this, it's like whatever that person needs comes through. And then I also get different messages, about, so sometimes like it'll say, for example, their inner child is asking for help, or some aspect of their life to look at, maybe a block in a certain chakra. So a message will come through that I can then share with them.
Do you know where this energy is coming from specifically?
Would
you like me to tell you? Because I know who it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then we'll see. I have a couple ideas, but.
I don't know. So let's see, I've been doing this for about 6 years now. So about 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, almost 3.5 to 4 years ago, I had some friends at my house, and they're both mediums, and one of them was sitting with her back to me, and we were my wife was talking to the other woman, her mom, and then and this other girl in front of me, she's also a medical medium, and and also a hypnotist, and we'll get into that later, right, lady? And so she was sitting with her back to me, and I just happened to turn around because I see spirit 24/7. It never turns off. I see them everywhere. And I found out at this moment, I can see the ones that are inside people because I turned around, and when I looked at her back, I saw a face in her back. And I said to them, "Is that her soul?" And I got a yes. And I said, "It looks crooked and it looks like there's a deviation in it." I said, "Can I fix that?" And because they put it in, they said fix. I heard fix, and I said, "Can I fix that?" And they said yes. I said, "What do I do?" And I heard, "Put your hands on her shoulders and then concentrate and just watch what happens." And I said, "Okay." So I said to my friend, her name's Miriam, she's been on the show. I said, "Miriam," I said, "I just looked in your back and I saw your soul." She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I saw your soul." She's like, "I know you see a lot of stuff." I said, "Well, obviously now I can see them inside people." I said, "But your soul is crooked." And I said, "Do you have some pain going on in your left shoulder?" And she said, "How the hell did you know about that?" And I said, "Well, I see a deviation in the soul. It's like a pit in there. And it's crooked. And it's crooked, it's leaning, to the left." I said, "So that's how I know." She said, "I wasn't even going to come today because I have such a bad pain in my shoulder that it was giving me such a migraine that I was not going to come today. But Mom said, just try to deal with it." And so her mom gave her some energy and she made it there. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, they're telling me that I can fix it. Do you mind if I try?" And she said, "No, go right ahead." I stood up and I closed my eyes and I put my hands on her shoulders and she went, "Oh," and I was like, "You okay?" She's like, "I've never felt that in before." I said, "What?" She said, "Just warm heat just came in." I said, "Okay, well, let's go have at it." So I sit there, and when I closed my eyes, I saw these pulses of white energy going with my eyes closed. I could still see my arms, just white, and I saw these pulses going through. And then I watched the soul. I watched it go, and then I watched the whole deviation go and close right up. And I said, "Okay, going to give you a little bit extra energy here, and I'm done." And she's like, "The headache's gone." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, really." And she says, "What do you call that?" I said, "I don't know." And then I heard in my mind, as they told me, soul alignment. And I went, "Soul alignment." And she's like, "Well, it worked." I said, "Okay." Now, where it's coming from, because he touches me right here. And when I get it, it feels like a letter L, just like that. And you're getting it from the same place. And his name is Archangel Michael. And that's where the energy is coming from. It's evolving for you, but it's evolving for you in stages so you can learn how to do it in stages. Because if it would come all at once, he tells me it would freak you out. So he's bringing it to you in stages. Let me ask, it'll no longer be in stages within the next 6 months to the year. You'll be full on.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, I just had full body chills, which is my tell when something is totally true. Yes, I work a lot.
That's where it's coming from, man. So
I work a lot with him too. Like, yeah, there's like a light aspect too that's starting to come through. It's like working with the divine rays of light, and sound is even starting to. Although I hold myself back on that because not everybody knows what light language is, and so.
Well, archangels, we give them these certain names, but that's not their real names. Their real names, we can't pronounce their real names because, this is going to kick in for you, because their names are a vibrational sound. Yeah. It's more like that's their sound. Even when you get back home. Yes, when you get back home, and they're gonna call you Angela, some people, but some people are going to, in the background, going to call you, they're going to go, "Oh," and you're going to go, "Oh, that's me." And that's it, but yeah, absolutely. How do you implement this into what you do? Or how did you start to implement that into what you do?
I started just practicing on a few friends that were willing to try something new.
It's good to have good friends, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because we got to have guinea pigs in this world for some things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And how long have you been doing that type of healing work? How long has it been going on for?
So that has been about 2 years, but not, not super consistent at this point. Yeah.
And the reason why it's not super consistent is because they are teaching you patience. That's why. So it's not anything that they are doing purposely to like you're not doing it well enough or anything. They're just trying to teach you patience with it. But it's all going to come to you within the next 6 months to a year anyway. So
Awesome. Ready.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about your, let me get this right here, your hypnotherapy energy medicine. What is that? Explain that to my audience.
Yes. So actually, I have a ton of tools and practices. So I studied energy medicine for a couple years through Donna Eden's style of energy medicine. So basically that's working with also the chakra system again, but the energy meridians, like the Chinese acupuncture meridians. So different holds you can do, different ways to move energy, combined with different emotional processing tools and practices. Tapping is one people might know, but there's other ones too, just other ways to process emotions so you don't hold them in your body. And then the type of hypnotherapy I do is a very and NLP based. So it's like neuro-linguistic programming. So, I mean, really, if you think about it, hypnosis is just a meditative state. So you're just guiding somebody into a meditative state. And then I use a process called timeline therapy to help them work through different things, heal things at the root cause. For example, good for trauma clearing.
But with letting go, like the depression that you had, finding out with being an empath, you had to learn to let it go. I mean, you could go to a doctor and he can give you a bunch of pills for it, and then he can try to talk you through it. But you don't really need him because you can actually just do it on your own without having to pay him thousands of dollars. But you can find out these ways to do these things on your own or in a more what we would call a holistic way, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really cool is because when I first started, realizing I was an empath and finding tools, the processes I used took a lot longer. So I used the emotion code and tapping, and they're both great tools, but it's like you have to work with each thing.
Yeah.
When you do the hypnotherapy and the timeline therapy, you go to the root cause, it clears all that energy on your timeline. You don't have to relive the event. You're not going back into it, and it's fast. So rather than having to go to every event, you get that root one, and it energetically clears everything moving forward. So it's very fast. And then once you learn them, you can do them yourself. You could have somebody guide you through, but you can also, once you learn how to work with it, you can absolutely use it yourself.
Yeah, because and people, that's what people want to do, I would think, because nowadays people want a quick fix for everything. But as we know, being energy workers, it's not always going to be a quick fix. But it can be eventually once you learn the processes, and that's what it takes. But learning the processes is a process in itself, because you have to learn how to do this. This isn't just something that you can take a pill for and go, okay, I'm going to get in that moment now, zing, and then we're going to take care of this stuff. But it doesn't happen that way, correct?
Exactly, and that's a good point.
I have a few.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and something that's coming to mind that I would love to remind people too is with any practice, it's, you can learn the tools and you'll see that they work. And then, this past month is an example for me. And then sometimes life comes at you and you some of the tools fall away. As long as they're still there, you have them, just remembering to come back to them. It's just like a yoga or meditation practice, right? Like you're doing it good for a while, then you kind of don't do it as frequently. And then you realize all that, and negativity and other stuff starts to creep back in. You're like, oh, I just got to go back to my practices. And they're simple and you can bring them in throughout your day, but yeah, just coming back to it.
When you do a session with someone, do you recommend that they like record the session so they can pay attention to what's going on, the things that you're doing so they can learn this? Or possibly do you sit down with them and say, okay, here's what you need to know, and start writing some stuff down and take some notes?
So my goal, so I usually teach them some processes, and I have a few videos, but that's my goal, is to actually start making more videos and have online courses so that those different practices, they'll have that video to reference. But currently, a lot of times I'll show them, and give them some notes on their opportunity work or their quote homework right after a session, so that they can keep working with the energies and carry the benefits forward.
Being a medium, and I do readings for people, I have this trouble with people that I give them the information and then they use their free will and their ego and they turn it all around, or they try to turn it around. Or they come back to me later and they go, oh, those things you told me, Daniel, they didn't work. And I say, well, it didn't work because you tried to change it around, correct? And they go, well, I go, yeah, well, not that I know. So how do you know? Because you're talking to a medium. That's how you know. But do you have a pretty good success rate? Do you have return people, or do your clients more or less after they learn, are they okay to go on their own, or do you tell them that you should come back for a refresher now and then?
I mean, they're going to see more benefits if they come back for refreshers. And honestly, some of the people that I've had the best success with, I'm thinking of one client in particular, and she would do some of the homework, but she liked me to come guide the sessions, and she liked the energy healing aspect of it. This is the way she felt afterwards. So she liked doing continuing sessions. But other people, it's like, I mean, I'm sure you have this too. So, you could do like a package of visits, or I have what's like a transformational breakthrough, where that's kind of my big, like, let's break through everything, right, or the major things. And so if they go through that, which that's like an 8 to 10 hour process, which if you think about doing visiting with a therapist, talk therapy, some people go for years and never see results. 8 to 10 hours, you can see a lot of results. And then with the energy healing on top of it, I've had some really awesome experiences that people have shared with me about how they see more possibility, they feel better in their bodies.
Right. You could explain it to them this way. Well, you could do 8 to 10 hours with me, or if you learn to fly, it's going to take 160 hours and you only go up for 15 minutes at a time.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I try to use analogies with people so it helps them to understand things, especially like my favorite analogy is telling them, I will give you the information, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to use that information. And the way that I say decide is in the same way, if you were my friend and you had an alcohol problem, you're an alcoholic, I would tell you, I will take you to Alcohol Anonymous and take you to classes, and I'll keep you away from bars and clubs and stuff like that, even though, there's nothing wrong with a good strip club. But I will tell them, I'll help you do this, but until you choose to stop drinking, no matter what I say, is not going to make any difference to you. So you have to want to be in this. You have to, like you say, you have to do your homework to find out how to help yourself. Because if you don't want to do it, or you want me to do it all for you, you're not going to get the same results out of it. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually, unfortunately, a problem I see with people too. And I did it myself, so I get it. But people wait till they're at the very bottom where
Right.
They just can't take the pain anymore,
Right.
before they're really willing to make that full commitment sometimes.
Well, if you want to, you can use that whole alcoholism thing and the strip club part if you want to. I mean, that makes them laugh a little bit, but yeah, you have to give them some type of way to actually get them up off their couch and take their thumb out of their butt and actually go out and do something for, because people, like I said, we live in this world right now where people want a quick fix for everything and they want it to happen right now. I mean, you and I, we remember what dial-up was like. The kids today, they don't know that stuff. They want it, they want their internet yesterday. So getting people to understand the process that it goes through to get healed takes sometimes a long time because it took a long time to make you this way. Being this depressed or having this pain, it's going to take a long time to get you out of it.
Yeah. And actually, I have with my intake process, I give them a task to do before we will even get started. If they don't do that task, I'm not going to work with you because you're not going to do the work and you're not going to get results. And you're going to blame it on me and get results. So.
Yeah, because you got to make sure they want to do it. Like when I would do readings for people, I still do them. I had a girl come to me one time, this couple, these two girls, and I did a reading for the one girl, but the other girl, she starts asking me questions. And because I get yes and no answers, the first question I ask is this person telling me the truth when they're asking questions? And this girl was telling me untruthful questions. And I said, she telling the truth? And I got no. So she's manipulating the questions? Yes. And she's talking along and I go, stop. She's like, what? I said, you got to ask me truthful questions. You're trying to ask me manipulated questions so you can get your own truth, so you can have some power and control of your girlfriend that she doesn't know about, but she knows about now because I just told it to her, that because all you want to do is you don't care about her feelings. You just want to have control over her. And she's like, wait a minute, what? How'd you know that? I said, because you're sitting across from the fucking medium. That's how I know that. And so if you want to ask me truthful questions, then we'll proceed. But she did. And then afterwards, after I gave her the answer, she did this, Angela. She went, I said, are you humming? And she said, huh? I said, so her girlfriend, I said, she's humming. She says, oh, she does that to me all the time. I said, yeah, she's blocking you out. She doesn't like the truth. She's trying to block me out. Here's your money back. Have a nice night. And I walked away. Now, so do you ever have people who say they want to come to you for help, but they really don't want to help from you, and they try to fight against you with that help?
Yeah, but I think because I give them the tasking, they kind of weed themselves out in that process.
So you found out
if they don't do it, I'm like,
right. If you're not going to work with me, then I can't work with you per se.
Mm-hmm.
How long was it before you figured out you needed to do that?
So actually, that was one of the things that we learned in our neuro-linguistic programming training. That was a tip that they gave us, and it serves me very well. So
your trainer knew the same thing that I'm talking about. Yeah, because people say they want your help sometimes, but they don't always want your help all the time because they want to fight against it because there's just some negativity they're just not willing to let go of, which is an unfortunate thing. But if you're coming to us for help, you would think they would want that, but I don't always know what the end game is with that, but I don't choose to go find out what that end game is. Even when I talk to people who are about to wake up from this, what I have, and I help them through it, and I let them know that, there are some people we can help in this world, and there's some who say they want our help, but they don't really. You have to let them go and then move on to the people that you can help. Yeah. And this is something I'm still currently working on, but it's also, talking about vibration. It's starting to vibrate with the energy of who you want to work with. So do you sometimes pick up on that prior to, like, when you go to meet someone who says they want your help? Because being an empath, do you pick up on the negative energy? I'm sure you pick up on the negative energy, but do you pick up on the negative energy that they are about to give you? Like, oh, I want her help, I don't really want her help. Do you ever, being an empath, does that help you with that as well? I think I do
pick up on it, maybe even unconsciously, that
Right.
like I can feel that if they're not really ready or not really into it,
They walk in and you go, oh,
not willing to commit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They walk in and you go, oh boy, you know, and then you just know. But being the person that you are, being the type of people we are, we do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. We want to try, because it's not just because oh, I got to get another client and make some money. It's not about that at all. It's about trying because you want to help people the best you can. But they have to want to have the help. That's all. Luckily for you, you did, through your training, you came up with a way to weed things out for you, so it's not such a difficult process.
Yeah, it does bum me out though, because I see people that I can help and I'm like, I can help you. I can help you if you would just be willing, if you'd be willing to do it and give it a try. I just see people continuing, we call it being comfortable in their discomfort, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to live that way. And another place that it really like tears at my heart is with moms and kids. And I feel this way because I have a little nephew, and I love my sister, but she has not done the inner work. And we have a lot of anger and some other energies in our family that I've dealt with and worked through. But, you know, it's like, if you don't heal your traumas, even if they're what you would consider little traumas, you're transmitting all of that to your child. And then we wonder why the children are growing up and having issues, because it's the same patterns that have been carried forward. If you would do 8 to 10 hours of work, you could clear your shit, and then your children would be much better served.
Yeah, I worked in prison for 6 years, and I worked in medical records, so I was able to see their records there when they would go see the psychiatrist and all that stuff. But just by looking at that stuff, we look at them as being just inmates, or they did something bad. But checking out their psychiatry reports and all that, it stems back from their family. Their family's all totally screwed up, and and these kids, they don't learn right from wrong, and they learn all this bad stuff from everybody else. And then we wonder why they're in prison, or why they're doing this stuff. 9 times out of 10, it's not just the child or the person; it's their whole family and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to, especially with your close personal family, knowing that you could take care of this, and but the people who are around you don't want to do the effort as well. I just met a girl recently, and she's going through some trauma right now with an illness. And I told her, I said, hey, my name's Daniel Jackson. I'm a spirit medium. I see ghosts, blah blah blah. I see dead people, whatever. And then I do a healing energy, and I could help you with your chemo and help you, so you're not feeling so down and all that stuff. And she just kind of blew me off, and I was like, okay. I mean, what else can I do at that point? I don't want to get too much in their face or too preachy about it, but there's just that type of people. I just have to learn to let them go. And if you don't want my help, okay, no problem. But when it comes to your even your personal family, that's kind of a hard deal as well. I have some family who are also, some of them are nice, and some of them are just a pain in the patootie. They've done some deceitful things, and you've been around for that. And, you don't have to be that way. You can choose to not be that way. But, everybody's got their lessons to learn. But physical pain and traumatic pain and you carry it around like a suitcase. I think some of my people, my relatives, carry it around in a Samsonite that's so big and indestructible. Trying to deal with that and trying to get them to release that it's tough. So at that point, you just have to move on to others that you can help and not just worry about them anymore.
Yeah, and coming back. So as far as chronic illnesses go, so my mom passed away from cancer in 2011 on Valentine's Day. I believe she chose that day purposely, but she had gotten ovarian cancer, did a whole holistic, like physical, juicing, and went to this center and did all these healing, and she was cancer free, but she didn't heal the emotional wounds.
Sure.
And at the time, I didn't have all these tools I have now. But looking back, so then the cancer came back up on her shoulder, and she hid it from us, and then they couldn't operate. So then, then from there it was downhill. But like I said, looking back, I realized she didn't heal all that emotional, and I believe she was empathic also, and very energetically sensitive. And so just all the layers that build up throughout your life before you realize you're collecting all those layers. Every illness has an energetic component, one, because everything's energy, but, so if you heal, you can do the physical things to heal the illness, but if you don't do the mental and emotional stuff, you're setting yourself up to fall back into that illness.
Right. And when you said that about your mama being an empath, I got this touch went all the way across my forehead, meaning like super yes, like she was super empathic, but never really said anything about it.
And I don't think she knew. I don't think she realized.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask. No, she didn't realize it. She picked up on it, the fact that it was happening and stuff like that, but she never really put two and two together.
Yeah.
As I tell everybody, like when people ask me about this, oh, well, how can I take a class with you and become a medium or something? No, it comes through with your soul. You either have this or you don't. And some people have it in their return trips when they come back again, and you either wake up with it or you don't wake up from it. And same thing with empaths, because not everybody is empathic. I meet a lot of them because Spirit brings them to me, and I try to help them with it. But yeah, this is just something. It's not something that got passed down from like you got it from your mom, like if you get something else, But this is just something that came with you, but you were both here at the same time with it in the same family. Because I don't know if you know this, but every time you come back, they call reincarnation. You're just coming back because you don't fulfill your purpose enough. But each time you come back into the same family circle every single time. So don't bother looking.
Yeah, my mom and I have definitely been in a lot of lifetimes together. I know.
Yeah, you've been sisters a few times. You've been the mother a few times. She's been the mother a few times. Yeah, that's why I tell people don't bother with 23andMe or Ancestry.com, because the person you're looking up that looks similarly like you 100 years ago was you. People don't realize that. You're just wasting money giving it to somebody so they can try to have a cool story for your friends. I have a question for you. When you do this, your business, do you do this do you do it from your home, or do you actually try to implement this into your chiropractic business?
So I currently do it separate from.
Okay, so it is a separate entity all on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I was going to a chiropractor, we would get massages there as well, and it was just she was part of the business, but not. She was just working there with them, but doing the massages. But she works in conjunction with the chiropractor, so they know exactly what points to touch and stuff like that as far as doing the massage and everything. So I didn't know if you try to implement that into it.
I haven't with our chiropractic, but I do think that it would fit in really well with a holistic doctor or a functional medicine doctor, because they're helping with that physical piece. And so I that is another goal, is to make some connections, some established holistic doctors, right, and offer that other piece, so it truly is a holistic healing experience for their patients, and they can really get deeper results. Right? Yeah, I just figured with the chiropractor, because people look, still even today, they look at chiropractors different than they look at like regular doctors. They don't see them as regular doctors. I do, because my chiropractor back home in Delaware was awesome, and he helped him with a lot of things. He found I had an accident at work and made sure that they got everything right with my back, because I had a disc out of place and everything. I just figured with that, hey, you got one thing that's good about the chiropractor. You could bring your business over there. You know why? Because you're the freaking boss. That's why. I mean, just saying. But yeah. So is that what you're doing? You're trying to make contacts in that area, is trying to find holistic doctors to do this with? That, and then my husband actually had a great idea. He came across it somewhere, maybe going to some of the hospitals and even offering sessions to their, like the energy healing sessions to the like cancer patients and some of the other people there. So I haven't started doing that yet. We actually just talked about that the other day.
I talked to a woman who wanted a reading, but she really didn't need a reading. And I referred her to my friend who's the medical medium. And she was doing Reiki, and she was doing it at a clinic. So while their people were getting treated for whatever there, they also had her come in and do Reiki sessions on it because it wasn't necessarily connected to the hospital per se. It was just a different business outside the hospital, but kind of connected to it. And that's why they were able to have her do it in it, because they wouldn't let her officially go into the hospital and do this. But I don't know, it might be different out where you are. Or
so was it like, what was the clinic then that it was?
It was just a health clinic. It was run by it was actually run by a church, which was kind of unique. And then and she coming in, they liked what she did, and she was there for about a year. But unfortunately, when they found out that she is, more spiritual, because the church people don't like spiritual people, they think, oh, if you believe in God, so why aren't you going to church? Whatever. So, but when they found that out, they got rid of her. And I was like, that's crazy. And she said, I was booked all the time, Daniel. I was booked there 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and it was going great. But when they found out I was just spiritual and not religious, then that's when they had a problem with it. And I was like, that just doesn't make sense. But if you're if you find a holistic doctor, then I can't see why they wouldn't want to have you there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it's just trying to make the context.
It would be a good fit. It's just, it's just going to be going out there and making those connections.
And now that you're full-time planted here, now you have the opportunity to do that, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So before we leave, what is some advice you would give to people who need this type of healing, and how can my listeners find you? Because we're going to put your links up for everything that you do, so they will be able to find you. Let's hear it from your own voice.
All right. So first of all, I would say that healing does not have to be difficult. I think sometimes people think it's going to be too much work or take too much time.
Sure.
And really, it doesn't have to. Once you learn some of the tools and practices, get some of the healing work, learn the tools, just incorporate them daily, just like, like a yoga practice or a workout or, meditation doesn't mean you have to sit for 2 hours. I like to when I can sit for 2 hours, but if it's,
I go in for 10 minutes and it's 2 hours later, I'm like, what the heck? So.
But even if you can fit 5 minutes and just fitting the practices in, don't let it seem overwhelming.
Right, because it doesn't have to rule your life.
Yeah.
But it will help your life, so the pain you're going through doesn't rule your life anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that was pretty good, wasn't it? I just came up with it just like that. I don't know. I don't know where that shit comes from, but I know where. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a survey that is just a couple of questions. I think it's 3, maybe 4 questions.
I went online and saw that survey. I was like, I'll wait till after I do the interview with her, and then I'll do the survey.
Yeah, and so if anybody resonates with the conversation we've had here tonight, if they wanted to fill out the survey, it just asks what are you dealing with right now that you could use some support with, a way to connect with me to if they want to explore it further. Or again, my goal is to start putting together some courses and some online material so people can start working with some of the practices. And so, I'd love to hear from your viewers, your listeners, what they most need right now. And then I can start putting content out there, material out there that can help them.
Absolutely. Because then whatever answers you get, you can come up with your program from, instead of just trying to sit there and go, man, what am I going to do now? I don't know. Come on, answers. But
Yes.
yeah, it's better to get it from real live people instead of just trying to think of it ourselves.
Yeah, because I have lots of things, I'm like, I can teach you breathing practices. I can teach you energy medicine. I can teach you tapping for this and for that. I have so many tools. So, tell me what you guys are looking for, and I can deliver some things that'll help you.
Absolutely. And that's the way, that's the best way to get it, to hear from them. I ask questions to Spirit all the time, but I don't always ask. I ask questions that I need, and I ask some other questions, but I don't always ask the right questions that somebody else needs until they actually ask it to me, and then I get the answer. I tell them, I've never even thought of that to ask. So thanks for telling me that. So where absolutely can my listeners find you?
Yes. So Nebraska.
They're right around. Angela, Shiitake, Angela, where are you at? No, that doesn't work. You don't want that anyway.
Beautiful summers here, but the winter's a little cold. So come inside. But yeah, so on Instagram, angelashaktisparks. I'm on Facebook. I believe I hope you'll have the links, right? I think it's
yes, I have the links. Yes,
coaching, and I have a group that's Sacred Soul Sisterhood. That one is more geared towards women. I do have another one that includes men.
Yeah, you women. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but if they'll connect with me with one of the ways that we have, or the survey would be great, and then they can put their email, and then I'll be able to share. I'm going to start growing my YouTube channel, and like I said, just putting more content out for people. So if they want to do the survey, connect with me, I'll make sure and let them know what's new and coming up.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know what? I'm as glad to have you on the show. I'm glad we finally got to get together to have the show. I know it took a little while, but like we said, the universe works in ways that we can't always get it together the way we want it together. We get it together in their time when it's supposed to happen. So, and this is when it was supposed to happen. And I was perfectly fine with it because, every time you said you couldn't make it, I just had more time to go, hang out on Facebook and look at dumb stuff. But not that I do every day, but, it is what it is. So I'm glad you were here.
Time for sure.
Oh yeah, and I enjoyed watching your candles in the background. That was kind of cool. They're flickering all over the place. Yeah, it was good. I'm glad we got to talk today, and I'm glad. Again, when I do this show, I do it because we don't see enough of this anywhere. I got tired of watching the TV shows that say, oh, well, we got some new information for you. And then they tell you something that you already knew from 1970. There's not enough truth out there. And the only way that this truth is going to get out there is if it's put out there. And I got tired of not enough truth being out there. So when people contact me, like when I got a hold of, when I was talking to everybody I talk to, they get a hold of me. And when I talk to them, like when I talked to Sarah and she mentioned you, I said, well, all right. And then reach out. And then, but the first thing I do, this is going to sound strange though, first thing I do is I ask Spirit, is this a guest that I need to have on my show? And if I get a no, I had a guy reach out to me and said, hey, I'm into paranormal and I see all kinds of stuff and all this stuff. And as he's talking to me, typing to me, I got no. And I said, sorry, but can't have you on the show. Oh, why not? I said, well, because I'm a medium and I listen to my spirit guides and they're actually telling me right now that you would not be a good guest for my show. You may be for someone else's, but not for mine. And he said, okay, I'm okay with that. And I said, well, good, because I'm okay with it. Have a great day. And so when I asked about you, they said, absolutely, yes. So I said, all right, this will be cool. But like we said, it took a little bit of logistics, but we got it out there. And now my listeners got a whole bunch of information because a lot of the things that you talk about, I'm in that space sort of, but I'm not in your lane. So I don't know about that stuff. And then you mentioned, like you said, you went for training with us as well. And this was an easy road for you to do this, I would imagine. So you had a lot to learn yourself, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a journey. Part of it too is like with the energy healing, allowing it and trusting in it, what's coming through, and then combining it with all the other training and
Yeah, I tell people in the same way, but not. I always tell them you have to be able to listen to spirit, but you also have to be able to follow through with what they're telling you. And if you're not following through and you're trying to change it around, or you don't trust it, then why are you even here with me? So come to me when you can trust them and trust yourself enough to actually follow through with what they're telling you to do. But because if they don't follow through with it, again, they're wasting their own time, they're wasting their money, and they're sort of wasting my time as well when I could be helping someone else who really wants to follow through with it. So yeah, you have to be willing and you have to be very trusting of where this information is coming from and trying to follow through with it. So yes, today we had Shaktisparks on here. What would you call yourself? I mean, because I call myself a spirit medium. So what is it, your actual title that you go by?
So I would say intuitive energy healer and transformation guide, because I guide you to release what doesn't serve you and reclaim your joy and your health, which are your natural states of being that you just forgotten, or they're buried in all the layers of stuff. So I help you come back to your truth. You're
a releaser of crap.
A releaser of crap.
Yeah, that's awesome, but it's just a better way that you say it. That's just a much shorter way. Again, I'm glad to have you on here, Angela. Why did I say that? I don't know. Angela, and I know. So like I said, we're going to put all your links up here so my audience can find you, because they need to find you. Because like I said, I only have people on here who tell the truth, and my audience needs to listen and find you because you are, I know where you're getting your source of energy from. So, and he's a good guy.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful insight for me. And thank you for having me on your show. I really enjoyed this and
it's been pretty good, right?
Having this show.
Yeah, I love having you on. I like looking at your candles. You got nice candles in the background. As I tell everybody, thanks for hanging out with Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson and me. Be good and don't do any stupid shit. Goodbye, everybody.